Alright everyone, welcome to this tutorial for Geogebra. What you're going to do first is go to geogebra.org/geometry, and that should bring you to this page here. What we're going to do first is we need to set up our Cartesian plane. So we're going to click over on settings and we're going to select show axis. Here you can see your X and Y axis. We're going to click on that purple icon here and we're going to just center our axes so that we can see our grid nice and clearly. Then we're going to go back to settings and we're going to click show grid, and we just want the major grid lines for right now. Alright, so as you can see we have our graph, and you can actually zoom in, you can scale this graph so you can zoom in to show finer points, smaller points, or you can zoom out depending on what you need for your assignment. In this unit, we're going to be working with polygons. So first, we're going to learn how to create a polygon on our graph. So we're going to click the polygon button, and that is going to allow us to select the points that we need in order to create whatever type of polygon we need to. Now, depending on the assignment, it may ask you to plot specific points on your graph, but for now, I'm just going to create a polygon by clicking on the different intersections of the axes, and we're going to create a triangle. As you can see, all the points are labeled very clearly. If I want to change any of the points, I can just simply click on the point, and that's going to show me its location on the grid, and I can actually adjust or redefine this point. So for example, I can change the point of A to 2 on the x-axis and 2 on the y, and that's going to move my point for me. But for our purposes, I'm just going to keep it at 1 and 2. There we go, our polygon. All right, so we're going to perform a translation of our polygon with the instructions saying 3 units to the left and 3 units down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, under transform, I'm going to click translate by vector. It's going to prompt me to select the object, to translate, and then the vector. And I'm going to translate from point A. So I'm going to click on point A, and it's going to give me a little arrow. That's going to be my translation point. And so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 units to the left, and 1, 2, 3 units down. And when I click here, my object performs the translation. Then I can change the color of my shape so that I can see my translation more clearly. I'm going to do another translation, this time 1 unit up and 4 units to the right. So I click on translate by vector and click on my shape. This time I'm going to translate from point B. And so I'm going to go up by 1 unit and then go 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the right, click, and there's my translation. Another transformation that you will need to do is to reflect your polygon using a line. And so we're going to go under transformation and then we're going to click on reflect about a line. Once I've selected that, I'm going to click on my polygon and I'm going to translate this shape in the y-axis. So I'm actually going to click on the y-axis and use that as my line of reflection. To perform a reflection in the x-axis, I'm going to again click on Reflect About a Line. And then I'm going to select my polygon again, and this time I'm going to use the x-axis as my line of reflection. Our last transformation is going to be a rotation. And as you can see, I've created a new polygon so that it is actually, its origin point is at 0, 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under Tools, and I'm going to click on Rotate Around a Point. Now we've learned before that you can actually rotate from any point within a shape or rotate outside of a point from outside a shape, but what we're going to do is we're going to click on our polygon and we're going to rotate around our 0, 0 point. Once I click on that, I can click the angle of rotation that I want and also the direction. So we're going to go 90-degree rotation clockwise. And then once I click that, my shape will rotate and I can change the color if I want so I can see it nice and clearly. But there's a 90-degree clockwise rotation of my polygon. I'm going to do another rotation. This time I'm going to do 180 degrees from my 0, 0 origin point, still clockwise. So I change my angle to 180 degrees, and there we go. My other rotation, change the color just so it's clear. All right, the last skill we're going to look at is performing a dilation. So you've noticed I've changed my polygon. And what we're going to do is, in our class, we're going to dilate this shape or scale this shape from a specific point, in this case, the origin point. So I need to set that point. So I go up to Basic Tools, I click my origin 0, 0, and there we go. So I've got my point. One more thing that I want to do before we actually scale this triangle is I want to relabel my points, and actually not relabel, but rather show the coordinates as well. So under Settings, I can click Name and Value, and that's going to show my coordinates. I'm going to do that for B and C as well by clicking on the points, then under Label, Name, and Value. Okay, I'm all ready. So what I'm going to do is under Tools, under Transform, I'm going to click Dilate from a Point. Click the tool, select my polygon and my origin point, and then I have to put my factor. So we're going to do a factor of 2, just to keep it simple. And that's going to scale my shape and adjust. We can see by looking at the coordinates what scaling by a factor of 2 or dilating by a factor of 2 does. Let's do one more. And first I'm going to change my color of my shape just so I can clearly see in case there's any overlap. Let's do one more, this time with a larger factor. So I'm going to go again to Tools, Dilate from a Point, click my original polygon, point D. This time let's go for a factor of 6. All right, and as you can see, my polygon actually is off my viewing space. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit just so that I can see. There we go. And if I look at the coordinates, I can see how it has changed, because with the factor of 6,